Hey there, I'm Thomas from RTINGS.com. Today, we're checking out the hotly anticipated successor to the Razer Viper V2 Pro, the aptly named Razer Viper V3 Pro. This competitive esports mouse is more of an evolution than a revolution compared to its older sibling, with a number of minor but meaningful changes. So, is the new Viper all show and no go? Let's find out! The biggest difference between the Viper V3 Pro and the outgoing V2 Pro is the design. The V3 Pro has an entirely new look that's much more subdued and less gamery than the old model. It tones down the aggressive lines and angles, and now it wouldn't look out of place on your desk at the office. It isn't all looks though. It has a new shape that's noticeably different to the old model. It's slightly taller, doing away with the V2's flat hump, and the sides are flatter and don't curve inwards towards the bottom as much as the old model. All these seemingly subtle changes add up to a big difference when you have the mouse in hand. The mouse feels fuller and better suits gamers with larger hands than the older version, especially gamers who favor palm and claw grips. You can buy this mouse in a black or white colorway. It has a smooth, matte finish that feels grippier than the V2's textured finish. Some folks have noticed that the white version has a slightly different, grippier texture than the black. But if you find the mouse too slippery for you, Razer includes a set of adhesive grips in the box. Coming in at just under 54 grams, this is a very lightweight mouse and even shaves a couple of grams off the V2 Pro. Razer didn't even have to resort to fancy materials like magnesium to lighten up the mouse. Despite its weight and all-plastic construction, it has excellent build quality. It feels rock solid, doesn't flex, creak, or rattle no matter how rough you are with it. It comes with a super thick and heavy USB-C to USB-A charging cable that feels like you could swing from it, but it's so heavy that it messes up the weight distribution of the mouse while you're plugged in. It uses the same Razer optical Gen 3 switches for its main clicks as the old Viper, but they have a somewhat more crisp and tactile feel. The main benefit of optical switches is durability. Since they operate using light, they won't wear out as quickly as traditional mechanical switches. It has two massive, high-quality feet on the bottom that glide incredibly smoothly across whatever surface you're playing on. Performance-wise, the V3 Pro absolutely knocks it out of the park. It uses Razer's latest and greatest Focus Pro 35K sensor and supports an 8000 Hz polling rate right out of the box. No special dongle required. While its receiver looks identical to the hyperpolling dongle that Razer sells separately, it's not compatible with other Razer mice. We measured an incredible single millisecond of click latency. That's right, 1 millisecond. That means you won't be able to blame your mouse when you choke and lose the 1v1. That's a skill issue. Its motion latency and accuracy are also exceptional, so your hand movements almost perfectly line up with your cursor movements on screen. Now, we got all of our test results with the mouse set to an 8 kHz polling rate, but we were curious to see if it really is better than lower polling rates. The answer? Technically yes. We measured lower average motion latency in 8 kHz than in 4K or 1K, but only by a couple of milliseconds. So it technically performs better, but it's not without its drawbacks. Firstly, battery life. Razer advertises 17 hours with the mouse in 8K mode, leagues worse than the 95-hour estimate in 1000 Hz. Also, high polling rates are more resource intensive, so you might see some frame stuttering if you have a lower end system. Now, this mouse uses Razer Synapse, the software that everyone loves to hate. It uses a lot of system resources and needs more updates than Discord. That said, you have to use it if you want to adjust mouse settings like CPI, polling rate, binds, profiles, and more. It has a couple of trick features built in, like an auto polling rate switch that turns your polling rate down when you're not in game, which can save you some battery life. Plus, a sensitivity matcher that can calibrate your CPI based on another mouse's sensitivity. Currently, there's a beta version of a new Synapse that Razer's advertising as being faster and lighter than the old version. The jury's still out on whether it's actually any better, so it might be worth a shot if Synapse 3 is driving you up the wall. So, should you buy the Razer Viper V3 Pro? In short, it's an uncompromised mouse that delivers absolutely outstanding performance, build quality, and features suitable for professionals. So what's the catch? For starters, it's very expensive, and it faces some stiff competition that are nearly as good. For example, the Viper V2 Pro. It's cheaper than ever and offers similar performance for less. While the V3 Pro has measurably better raw performance, you're not going to feel it necessarily. But in a competitive Twitch shooter where every millisecond counts, the difference is there. The biggest difference is the shape. It's bigger overall with a higher hump that feels fuller in your hand. It's much more accommodating to different grip types in the V2, which has a noticeably flatter shape. Combined with its lighter weight and new smooth coating, the V3 just edges out the V2 comfort-wise. Another option is the Ninjutsu Sora V2. The Sora jumps straight into the Viper pit like a mongoose. It performs virtually the same, is over 10 grams lighter, and it's $60 cheaper. It has a different, smaller shape with its hump further towards the back of the mouse, making it better suited for claw grip than the Viper. So if extreme lightness is a priority for you, then the Ninjutsu is probably the better pick. With all that said, these are all top-of-the-line gaming mice that you'll surely be happy with. If you need those extra margins of performance, then the Viper V3 Pro might very well be worth the extra cost. If absolute lightness is your jam, then go for the Sora. If you want a balanced, all-around package for a great price, then the Viper V2 Pro will serve you well. That's all for our review of the Razer Viper V3 Pro. If you want to see how it performs in more detail, or how it stacks up against the competition, check out our full written review on our website. The link is in the description below. Until next time, I'm Thomas from RTINGS.com, where we help you find the best product for your needs. It has two massive, high-quality feet on the bottom that Performance-wise, the V3 Pro, that would be Pro, not Plo. Let's try again. Sorry. I'm laughing in advance, that's pretty bad.